Okay, so get this. You sent over this YouTube video, and the title is Agents as a Service,
Uh-huh.
or AGOS.
Right.
And it's basically saying that this is going to be even bigger than SaaS.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking millionaires, billionaires
And
in the next year, just from this new business model.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. Huge potential.
So whether you're, a techie or not, you're going to want to pay attention to this AOS thing because it's going to change everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about this is it's like the next logical step in something we've been seeing for decades.
Okay.
Think about back in the day when you had to get software on CDs
Yeah.
and install them on your computer.
Yeah.
And the internet came along and SaaS changed everything.
Huge.
Cloud-based solutions like Salesforce, HubSpot.
Yeah,
it's accessible from anywhere.
Yeah. But this video is saying AOS is going like a step further.
Yeah.
So what's the difference?
So think of it this way. SaaS gives you the tools, but OS uses the tools for you.
Okay.
It's like imagine a marketing agent that not only handles your CRM, but generates leads, schedules, appointments, follows up with people, all without you lifting a finger.
Wow.
Like a whole team of tireless, hyper-efficient employees working for you 24/7.
Okay, that's pretty incredible. But I did notice in the video that they said enterprise spending on Brash last year was only like $2 billion.
Right.
Which doesn't sound like a lot when we're talking about, this huge potential.
Yeah, you're right. But that $2 billion is 12 times higher than it was the year before.
Really?
Yeah, so it's growing like crazy.
Okay.
So it might be small now, but it's going to be massive soon.
Okay, so we're definitely in the early stages.
That's sure.
But it sounds like there's a huge opportunity here.
Absolutely.
So are all these AI agents the same?
So there's actually two main types.
Okay.
There's vertical agents and horizontal agents.
Okay.
Vertical agents, think of them as specialists.
Okay.
They're designed for a very specific role in a specific industry. And so the video gives an example of Carmen, which is an AI agent specifically for construction project managers.
Okay.
And it automates all those administrative tasks that are unique to that field.
So super targeted solution for a very specific problem.
Exactly.
Okay, what about horizontal agents?
Horizontal agents are more like generalists.
Okay.
They can adapt to any niche, any function.
Okay.
Almost like a platform that you can use to build all sorts of vertical agents on.
Gotcha.
And one example the video gave was Agency Swarm,
Okay.
which is that type of framework.
Okay, I'm starting to see the difference now. So is it a matter of is one better than the other or?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It really depends on what your needs are and what your goals are.
Sure.
You can think of it as the classic trade-off between performance and time.
Okay.
Vertical agents, they're already pre-trained for their task, so they can deliver results quickly, but they're not as customizable.
Okay, so it's like those fancy espresso machines that you get. Like they make a perfect espresso, but if you want a smoothie, you're out of luck.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Horizontal agents, on the other hand, take a bit more setup and training.
Mm-hmm.
But the payoff is you have way more flexibility in the long run because you can tailor them to do exactly what you need.
Okay, got it. So it's like a specialist versus a generalist.
Exactly.
And, they each have their own pros and cons.
Yeah.
Cool. The video also highlighted some really interesting real-world Iris solutions that are already out there.
Yeah, for sure.
What were some of the ones that stood out to you?
So one that really stood out to me was 11X.
Okay.
They're developing AI-powered sales agents that can automate the entire sales process.
Wow.
And they've raised $74 million in funding.
Wow, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
But the video also said that you don't need millions of dollars to get started with IS.
Right. The creator even kind of implied that maybe 11X has too much funding. He really emphasized that the real key is to focus on delivering value and solving real problems, even if you're starting small.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's very empowering to hear that you don't need to be, some Silicon Valley hotshot to get in on this.
Yeah, exactly.
What were some of the other examples that you liked?
So we already talked about Carmen, the AI agent for construction project managers.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect example of how powerful it can be to target a very specific niche.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Normie, which is designed for regulatory compliance teams.
Okay.
Shows that AS can go way beyond just sales and marketing. There are opportunities in all kinds of industries.
Yeah, it seems like the possibilities are pretty much endless.
Yeah.
The video also mentioned Devin, which is a development agent that costs $500 a month.
Yeah.
I'd be curious to hear more about that one.
Yeah. Devin is intriguing, but I honestly think that deserves a deep dive of its own.
Okay.
Maybe we can do that in a future episode.
Okay, I'm putting that on the list.
All right, cool.
So let's say someone is listening to this and they're like, okay, I'm sold. How do I build my own vertical agent?
Okay.
What are the first steps?
So the video laid out 3 key ingredients.
Okay.
You need data, you need industry expertise, and you need resources.
Okay.
So let's start with data.
Okay.
The quality of your AI agent is completely dependent on the data that you train it on.
Mm.
So step 1 is to gather valuable internal data that's relevant to the task you want to automate.
That makes sense, but what if you don't have access to that data right away?
That's a great question, and the video actually addressed that.
Okay.
One suggestion was to partner with someone who does have access to the data,
Okay.
or even offer to build the agent for a client in exchange for access to their data.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, so you're getting paid to develop your solution, and you're gathering the data you need at the same time.
Brilliant. Okay, so data is covered. What about industry expertise?
You need to have a really deep understanding of your target customer,
Okay.
their workflow, their pain points.
Mm-hmm.
You need to know their processes inside and out, so you can design an agent that truly solves their problems.
Gotcha. So if someone isn't an expert in the field, they need to partner with someone who is.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And remember, you don't need like a huge investment to get started.
Okay.
You can leverage your existing skills network and resources to build your first agent.
Yeah.
In fact, the video emphasized that a lot of times you can secure funding from your first client,
Okay.
essentially getting them to pay for the development of the solution they need.
Okay. That's a game changer. All right. So we've got our data, we've got our industry expertise lined up.
Right.
What are our options for actually building the agent?
So the video presented 3 main approaches. You can use a framework, you can leverage a platform, or you can develop a custom solution.
Okay.
Each approach has its pros and cons. It really just depends on your technical skills and how complex of an agent you're building.
Okay, let's dive into those.
Okay, so using a framework
Yeah.
like Agency Swarm, which we mentioned earlier, can save you a lot of time and effort because it handles some of the lower level technical details for you.
Gotcha.
But you'll still need some development experience to make it work.
So for people that are comfortable with a little bit of coding, a framework would be a good way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, what about using a platform?
Platforms like Google Cloud's Vertex AI, Amazon's Bedrock are incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They handle all the infrastructure for you so you can focus on building the agent without having to be like a coding wizard.
Right.
But they can get pretty expensive as you scale up.
Okay, so maybe not the best if you're just starting out, but good once you get going a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
What about the third option, building a custom solution from scratch?
That gives you complete control,
Mm-hmm.
complete flexibility, but it's
Yeah.
definitely the most challenging path.
Yeah.
You'll need a really strong development team, a lot of technical expertise to pull it off.
So ultimate freedom, but also requires the most effort.
Exactly.
So what did the video recommend as like the best approach?
So the creator recommended starting with a framework or a platform to
Perfect.
validate your idea and get to market quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Then as you grow and your needs become more complex, you can consider transitioning to a custom solution.
Okay, so it's like you start small and you scale up.
Exactly.
I like it. All right. So we've built our agent. We're ready to launch it into the world. How do we actually price this AS solution?
So that's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, the video gave us 4 key pricing models to consider:
Okay.
licensing, usage-based, outcome-based, and hybrid.
Okay, let's break those down.
Okay, so licensing is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Clients pay a one-time setup fee or a recurring monthly subscription to use your agent.
Okay.
It's easy to explain, but the downside is it doesn't always reflect the actual value that the agent is delivering.
Okay. So maybe good for the early stages, but not ideal for the long term.
Right.
Okay, what about usage-based pricing?
Usage-based pricing is really common in the SaaS world.
Mm-hmm.
So you charge customers based on how much they use the agent. So maybe by the number of tasks completed or the amount of data processed.
Gotcha.
It's very scalable, especially for larger clients.
Okay.
But it requires consistent agent use to be profitable.
So not a good fit for people that only need it occasionally.
Right.
Okay, now this outcome-based pricing, that sounds interesting.
This is where AOS gets really exciting.
Okay.
You actually charge clients based on the results that the agent achieves.
Okay.
So you could charge per appointment, booked, per lead generated, per website, built.
Wow.
It's a win-win because your clients are only paying for tangible results.
And you're incentivized to make sure that your agent is actually working.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. Okay, what about the hybrid model?
A hybrid model combines elements of multiple pricing strategies.
Right.
So for example, you might charge a base fee plus an additional fee per outcome achieved.
Okay.
So it offers flexibility, but it can be a little more complex to explain to clients.
Sure. Okay. So lots of different options depending on the specific agent and the target market.
Exactly.
All right. So now let's get down to the nitty gritty. If someone wants to ride this AS wave and find success in 2025, what's the roadmap look like?
So the video laid out a pretty clear step-by-step plan
Okay.
that anyone can follow.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step is to find your niche.
All right. How do we do that?
It's all about leveraging what you already know.
Okay.
What are your existing skills,
Mm-hmm.
experiences your network?
Yeah.
What industries are you familiar with?
Mm-hmm.
What problems have you encountered that an AI agent could solve?
Okay.
Where can you offer a unique solution that no one else is providing?
So instead of trying to be everything to everyone, we should focus on where we can really excel and offer value.
Exactly.
Okay, what's next?
So once you've identified your niche, the next step is to pinpoint the specific problem that
Yeah.
you want to solve with your agent.
What makes a problem a good fit for an AS solution?
So the video highlighted a few key characteristics.
Okay.
The problem should be recurring,
Okay.
meaning it happens frequently.
Mm-hmm.
It should be dynamic. Okay.
Meaning it involves some level of variability or complexity,
Gotcha.
and it should be something that traditional automation tools can't really handle.
Mm.
It needs to require some level of intelligence, some decision-making.
Okay, so not just like simple repetitive tasks,
Right.
but something that requires a little bit more
Exactly.
adaptability.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, what's the next step on our roadmap?
This is where it gets interesting. Sell first, build second.
Wait, hold on. Don't we usually build the solution and then try to sell it?
Yeah, that's the traditional approach, but the video argued that selling first is a much smarter strategy.
Right.
Because if you can find a client who is willing to pay for your solution before you build it,
Yeah.
you're validating your idea. You're
Yeah.
reducing your risk. You're ensuring that you're creating something that meets a real market need.
You're getting paid to develop the solution.
Exactly.
I love that. Okay, so we've secured our first client. What happens next?
Time to build a minimum viable product.
Or an MVP.
An MVP.
Can you remind us what an MVP is? An MVP is a stripped-down version of your product
Okay.
that includes just the essential features that are needed to solve that core problem.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to get something functional in the hands of your client as quickly as possible so you can start gathering feedback
Okay.
and iterating based on their needs.
So it's not about building the perfect product right out of the gate.
Right.
It's about getting something out there and getting feedback.
Exactly.
I like it. What's the next step after the MVP?
So the video called it productizing your agent.
Okay, what does that mean?
Basically taking everything you learned from building that MVP
Yeah.
and turning it into a repeatable, scalable solution.
Yeah.
Identifying those core features that are going to be consistent across different clients.
Yeah.
And making it really easy to customize the agent for different needs,
Mhm.
maybe through templates or configuration files.
So making it adaptable so you can onboard new clients without having to start from scratch every time.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. What's next?
Next step is to set up a system for evaluating your agent's performance.
Okay.
The video called These Evils
Yeah, okay.
emphasized that this is crucial for continuous improvement.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be able to track how your agent is performing, identify areas where it can be optimized,
Yeah.
make adjustments as needed.
So it's like this constant feedback loop
Exactly.
where your agent is always getting smarter.
Yeah.
Okay. And the final step on our roadmap.
The final step is to scale your solution.
Right.
Once you have that productized agent that's delivering results, ramp up your marketing efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe hire some team members. Get your agent in the hands of as many clients as possible.
Okay, that's where things get really exciting.
Yeah.
But before we get too caught up in all the hype,
Right.
the video shared a real-world case study to show what a success can actually look like in practice.
Yeah. We got to hear from Chase, an entrepreneur who's built a successful AS voice solution
Okay.
and is generating impressive revenue.
All right, tell me more about Chase.
So Chase's story is a perfect example of how to leverage niche expertise to build a valuable AS solution.
Okay.
He combined his experience in the solar industry with AI to create a voice agent
Okay.
that automates the sales process for solar companies.
Oh, that's smart. So he found a problem in an industry that he knew really well,
Exactly.
and he built a solution tailored to that specific problem.
Yeah.
Very cool. What were some of the key takeaways from his experience?
One thing that stood out was he didn't try to reinvent the wheel.
Okay.
He integrated his a solution with systems that were already out there,
Okay.
leveraged his existing CRM automation workflows.
Gotcha.
He also focused on creating templates to make it easy to customize his solution for different clients.
Okay, so that echoes that productization thing that we were talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, what else did he do?
He understood the importance of value and results.
Okay,
So instead of just charging a flat fee, he offered two models,
okay.
a build and release model and then also a growth partner model, where he would actively manage the AS solution for his clients,
Okay.
and he would share in the revenue that it generated.
Wow. So he aligned his incentives with his clients' incentives.
Exactly.
That's really smart. The video actually included a snippet of Chase's AI agent in action.
It did.
I'd love to hear that if we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So first we hear Grace Chase's AI sales assistant introducing herself.
Okay.
Then we hear Grace speaking Spanish, demonstrating her multilingual capabilities.
Wow.
Next up, she delivers an impressive rap about the power of AI employees.
Really?
It's pretty entertaining.
That's amazing. Okay.
And then finally, we hear a seamless transfer to Jack, a specialized sales agent,
Okay.
showcasing the multi-agent capabilities of his system.
Wow. Hearing it all come together like that really brings the concept to life.
Yeah.
It's clear that he's built something really special. Did he share any revenue numbers?
He did his best month. He brought in close to $100,000.
What?
Yeah, and he's consistently seeing between $30,000 and $60,000 per month.
That's incredible, and all without millions of dollars in funding.
Yeah.
That just proves that you don't need a ton of money to succeed in this space.
Right?
You just need a great idea and the right skills and the willingness to put in the work.
For sure.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive so far.
It has.
We've gone from like the very basics of understanding what AS is,
Yeah.
how it's different from, all these other traditional software models, to seeing real-world examples of people building thriving businesses with these AI agents.
Yeah, it's really exciting stuff.
And we've only scratched the surface.
Right, we haven't even talked about
Like you said.
those horizontal agent platforms that can build vertical agents.
From a single prompt.
Yeah, just with a prompt.
It feels like we're on the verge of like a massive technological shift.
Absolutely.
It's really exciting,
It is.
but there's so much more to explore.
Yeah, we still need to talk about what this means for the future of work.
Right.
What does this mean for the broader economy?
Exactly. We'll be tackling all of that and more in part 2 of this episode. So stay tuned because this deep dive is just getting started.
Yeah, this is just the beginning.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but my head is still spinning from all the possibilities we talked about in the first part of this deep dive.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
For sure. Like, just hearing Chase's story really drove home the point that this AI thing is not just some futuristic fantasy. It's happening right now. People are already making serious money with it.
Absolutely.
But it also makes you wonder, like, what happens when these AI agents get even more powerful
Yeah.
and sophisticated? Well, what does that mean for the future of work?
Right.
Are we all going to be replaced by robots?
Well, the video creator definitely had some interesting thoughts on that.
Okay.
He predicted that both vertical and horizontal agents are going to have a significant impact,
Okay.
but not necessarily in a way that, like, eliminates human jobs altogether.
Okay.
He sees a future where some people will gravitate towards those highly specialized vertical solutions, while others will embrace the flexibility and customization of those horizontal agent platforms.
So not a complete AI takeover, but a shift in how we work and the kinds of jobs that are in demand.
Exactly.
Okay.
He even suggested that ARIS could lead to a surge in entrepreneurship and innovation.
Oh, interesting.
Like, imagine a world where anyone with a good idea and access to the right AI tools could build and scale a business without needing a huge team or a ton of upfront investment.
That's a pretty amazing thought.
It is. It's really empowering.
But let's be realistic. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, right?
Of course not.
There have to be some potential downsides to this whole worse thing.
Yeah, for sure. As with any disruptive technology, there are going to be challenges and adjustments along the way.
Sure.
One of the biggest concerns is the potential impact on the workforce.
Right.
If AI agents can automate entire processes, what happens to the people who used to perform those tasks?
Yeah, are we going to see massive job displacement? Will certain skills become obsolete?
Those are all valid questions.
Yeah.
And they're questions that we need to be asking as this technology continues to evolve.
So how do we address that? Like, are there things that we can do to prepare for those changes?
Well, I think first and foremost, we need to be proactive in thinking about how we can retrain and reskill workers
Okay.
so that they can thrive in this new landscape.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll see a shift towards roles that require more creativity, critical thinking, human connection.
Right, the things that AI can't replicate.
Exactly. Those are the skills that are going to be in high demand.
So it's not just about learning how to code.
Right. It's about developing those uniquely human skills.
Yeah, I'm hoping that will be the case.
Me too.
It would be incredible to see AS create new opportunities for people to do work that is more meaningful and fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely.
The video creator also had a pretty mind-blowing prediction about the future of these horizontal agent platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So he envisioned a future where these platforms could essentially create highly effective vertical agents
Okay.
from a single prompt, almost like magic.
Okay.
Imagine being able to say, I need an agent that does X,
Mm-hmm.
and the platform just builds it for you ready to go.
That sounds incredible, but also a little intimidating.
It is a little bit intimidating.
If it's that easy to create these powerful AI agents,
No,
that make it even harder for people to keep up.
it's a valid concern, but the creator also believed that these agents will be able to learn and improve over time.
Okay.
So they essentially become even more valuable and efficient as they gather more data and experience.
So maybe it's not about competing with these super intelligent AI agents,
Right?
but learning how to work alongside them and leverage their capabilities to our advantage.
I think that's a great way to look at it.
Okay, so the video also mentioned something called thermodynamic computing and kind of suggested that it could have an even bigger impact than AI in the near future.
Right.
Have you heard much about that?
To be honest, that's a relatively new concept to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't discussed in a lot of detail in the video.
Okay.
It sounds fascinating, though.
Yeah.
It does. Maybe it's something we can explore in a future deep dive.
I'm adding that to our list, all right? So we've talked about the potential for NES to disrupt industries, create new opportunities,
Yeah.
and even transform the nature of work itself.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal, but as with any powerful technology, there are bound to be some challenges and ethical considerations that we need to address.
For sure.
We've touched on some of those already, like the potential for job displacement, the need for retraining and reskilling.
Right.
But what are some of the other ethical considerations that come into play with an AS?
Well, one concern is the potential for bias in AI algorithms.
Okay.
If these agents are trained on biased data, they could perpetuate and even amplify existing inequalities.
That's a really important point.
It is.
So we need to make sure that the data that's used to train these agents is representative, unbiased,
Absolutely.
so that they're not making unfair or discriminatory decisions.
Right. And we need to be vigilant about monitoring these agents to make sure that they're being used ethically and responsibly.
Okay.
As they become more sophisticated, we need to develop clear guidelines and safeguards to prevent any unintended consequences.
It sounds like we need a combination of technological advancements and thoughtful regulation
I agree.
to really navigate this new landscape successfully.
Yeah, it's going to be a group effort for sure.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has been.
We've covered so much ground, from like the technical details of what AS is to the potential impact on the workforce, the ethical considerations that we need to address.
Right.
It's clear that AS is a powerful force that's going to shape the future in some really profound ways.
It really is.
And as we've discussed, it's important to approach this technology with both enthusiasm and a healthy dose of caution.
I agree with that.
We need to embrace the possibilities while being mindful of the potential challenges. And most importantly, I think we need to engage in these open and honest conversations about how we want to shape this future together.
Right. It's not something that's going to happen to us. It's something that we're all creating together.
Exactly. So let's keep learning, keep exploring, and keep asking those tough questions.
I love that.
And in the next part of this deep dive, we'll delve into even more fascinating aspects of this ABS revolution. So stay tuned.
Yeah. Stick with us.
Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered so much ground already. It's kind of mind-blowing to think about how quickly this is all evolving.
I know. It's really incredible.
And, it's exciting, but I'm also feeling like a sense of responsibility. We need to make sure that we're approaching this technology thoughtfully and ethically.
Yeah.
It's not just about the cool factor.
Right.
It's about shaping a future that benefits everybody.
Yeah, for sure. We need to be proactive about addressing those potential challenges and making sure this is used for good.
Yeah, and one of the things that we talked about last time was the impact on the workforce.
Right.
That's the big question. is AI going to replace human jobs?
Yeah, it's the question on everybody's minds.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't think it's a simple either-or scenario.
Okay.
AI agents are going to automate certain tasks and processes,
Mm-hmm.
which could lead to some job displacement.
Yeah.
But it's also important to remember that AI can create new opportunities
Okay.
and even enhance existing roles.
So maybe it's less about AI taking over and more about humans and AI working together in new ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the key is to focus on developing skills that complement AI.
Okay.
Things like creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, complex problem solving.
Okay.
Those are going to be the skills that are in high demand.
Right. So we need to adapt and evolve, just like we've always done, as new technologies emerge.
Exactly. Humans are incredibly adaptable.
That's true. And I think it's also important to remember that AI is ultimately a tool.
Mm.
It's up to us as humans to decide how we want to use it
Right.
and what kind of future we want to build with it.
It all comes back to us.
So how can we shape the future of AS?
I think one of the most important things is to have these open and honest conversations
Mm-hmm.
about the ethical considerations.
Right.
We need to establish clear guidelines and safeguards to make sure that these agents are used responsibly
Yeah.
and that we're prepared to address any unintended consequences.
You mentioned bias in AI algorithms last time
Right.
as one potential concern. So how do we ensure that these agents are fair and don't perpetuate existing inequalities?
Yeah. So it starts with the data that's used to train the agents.
Okay.
We need to make sure that the data is representative and unbiased
Right.
and that it reflects the diversity of the population.
Okay, so it's not just about the technology itself, but also about the people who are developing and deploying it.
Exactly. We need diversity and inclusion at every stage of the process.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about a lot,
We've covered a lot of ground.
but what's the one key takeaway that you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
I hope they remember that the future of cities is not predetermined.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that we are all shaping together
Powerful.
for the choices we make and the actions that we take.
Right.
So let's be intentional about building a future
Okay.
where AI empowers us all.
That's a great message to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Asteer.
Oh, it's been a pleasure.
It's been an incredible journey.
It really has.
And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in and joining us on this exploration.
Yes, thank you so much for listening.
Remember, the future is what we make it.
It really is.
So let's keep learning,
Yeah.
keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
I know that.
Until next time, keep diving deep.